Inshallah. I'll let you know how it goes. All right, let's see if Islamic Relief is ready to hop on. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hey, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Rami?
How are you, Abdul? How's it going?
I'm just doing well. Rami, I don't know if it was from your side or Sheikh Yusuf, but that was like you get pixelated at times, and I'm hoping it's not my Wi-Fi. We'll
Yeah,
find
no,
out
you're out.
shortly.
You're out. It seems pretty clear right now, so I
Sweet.
assume
You, on the other hand, have a little lag there.
we're okay. Are we good now?
I think so. Go for it.
Okay. Alrighty. So we're live with Islamic Relief Canada, our gold sponsor for Miss 2020, and I have Abdul here, who is the National Volunteer Specialist for Islamic Relief Canada. He's been with them for about 5 years and isn't sure where time quite went. He manages the volunteer department across Canada and overlooks IR campus clubs. So I go to McMaster, for example, he overlooked the McMaster Islamic Relief chapter there. He also overlooks the individual volunteers and the overall journey of volunteers to make sure that they have a positive experience. So we're so excited to have you today. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for
And
having me on.
we can't wait to know more about Islamic Relief's programs, especially the Ramadan Ready program, and how people can get
Yeah,
involved. So take it
yeah,
away.
yeah. Jazakallah khair. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Miss Toronto has a special place in my heart. I participated in the very first ever Miss Toronto, which is back in 2008 in UTM.
Wow, that's crazy.
So have a special place. But yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, and I I love that Sheikh Yusuf went first because there's so many things that he said that I can kind of go touch back to when I talk about the
Mhm.
Ramadan source study. So inshallah, I'll point those out as we go along for today.
Absolutely, inshallah.
Yeah.
A lot of good
All
points
right.
to bounce on. Go for it.
So I wanted to speak a little bit about the topic for today was enhancing Ramadan. Um, And for us as a Muslim charity, Ramadan obviously is the busiest time of the year, right? It's like the playoffs for us. And every single week there's multiple events all across Canada, fundraising dinners, or we're just at masjids collecting donations at Juma or Tarawih. Um, if you anywhere for Tarawih, you've seen one of our leaflets on your car door or your windshield for sure. And so, with the current climate, with the pandemic, it's been a difficult kind of shift for charities to let go of everything that we were doing physically offline and then fully go online. But it's been a really interesting shift as well. Alhamdulillah for us, we came out with this series called the Virtual Community Series, and it was just a series of webinars as well as fundraising iftars. So, like the very first one that we held, I remember was it was a storytelling and nasheed concert. So we had Asma Hussein do like read from one of her books, and we had Zain Bika and Dawood Warnsby join us as well. And for that webinar, I remember we had like almost 1,000 people tuning in,
Thousand.
and almost 1,000 people tuning in. For me, that was like so remarkable, mashallah, because like you
Yeah.
could spend months and months preparing for a very large fundraising iftar, right? For like 900, 1,000 people. And that, like the legwork for something like that is crazy. The cost for something like that is crazy. Like the amount of advertising, prep work, etc., logistics. And then, like in this climate, just to have that same amount of numbers, but online with people viewing just from literally their living rooms and their
Yeah.
kids are watching, singing along, and then they're taking pictures and sending it to us really it was kind of an epiphany. It was like this moment of like, oh wow, even when the world goes back to normal, when there's some normalcy return to the world, inshallah, this is actually a great way to engage with the community, right? And
Absolutely.
so then we did more of that. We did like a fitness webinar with Stronger with Bilal and Zalibai, which was awesome too. And this weekend we have our fundraising iftars for Calgary as well as Edmonton. So we have Sheikh Ala doing the fundraising for Calgary and then Imam Siraj Wahaj doing it for Edmonton. And there's a little bit of like banter between the two cities of like who can raise. They have a history of trying to raise like sponsor hundreds of orphans every Ramadan, and they try to out one another. So they're doing their fundraising iftars 1 hour apart tomorrow, like the same day. So that should be really, really interesting.
Interesting competition to see. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So that was one aspect of it, which was like the webinars and then the fundraising iftar, like switching all of that online. But we found like one additional way to engage with people online was we wanted to have like a daily live Quran recitation.
I see.
So we contacted multiple qaris across Canada, people who, Canadian Muslims really love listening to, and we had them each record one juz. And so every day at 6:30 p.m. on our YouTube channel, we have one juz with the Arabic and the English translation, like ayah by ayah, and then that's stored as well. So if you wanted to read along at the same time or view it later, you can do that. For me, that's been a tremendous, tremendous help.
Yeah.
I personally love, like, even when I go for Tarawih, like, I would love following along. And for me now to be, doing Ramadan at home and to follow along just from my TV,
Yeah.
it's so awesome. It's honestly, it's amazing, mashallah.
I'm
And so for those,
curious. I must ask, like, how hard must you guys be working? Because the turnaround time from when this pandemic was declared to like when all these programs started rolling out, and the quality, mashallah, for the production is amazing. So, um, as a charity, how do you guys function to make sure that everything like falls into that timeline and you can get everything pumped out in time?
that's a good question. Listen, Ramadan is the busiest time of the year for us, right? Like pandemic or no pandemic, it is the busiest time of the year for us.
Yeah.
And now with like such a big shift to online, we've had to work obviously a little bit harder, but not necessarily even like longer or harder hours. It's just thinking different. Like we've had to think a little bit smarter, a little bit more strategic. Um, but it's been fun, to be honest. Overall, it's been great, even to see the feedback from everyone online. It's been really rewarding, alhamdulillah. So, but those are two things that I really wanted to point out to everyone. So if you were to go to our website, islamiclife.ca/events, you'd see all the webinars that are coming up, the fundraising iftars that are coming up, as well as the daily live Quran, which is 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Alrighty. Do we want to transition to the next topic? So after all these things that people can kind of benefit from, how can they benefit others? How can they?
Yeah, for sure. And Sheikh Yusuf put this really well. He was talking about like a support system, right? So, um, and I love that because you wouldn't be able to hold yourself accountable, right? Or have someone else hold you accountable. But we came out with this series of tools. It's called Ramadan Ready Resources. If you go on Islamic.ca,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see these Ramadan planner that we actually came out with this like a few years ago. I have one here. If anyone
Okay.
has one, do comment in the chat. Let us know what you think about these. I absolutely love them. You can order a physical agenda or planner, and we'll ship it to you anywhere within Canada. Or you can just download the online version as well, and that one's for free, right? But it's great because you can, like, to touch on what Sheikh Yusuf was saying about how Ramadan should be a time where you're eliminating your bad habits, the very first section is the bad habit breaker. And then there's a section for like, what are your Ramadan goals for long term and short term? So you can write that down. And it's not too late, right? Like we're only 1 week into Ramadan. There's still plenty of time left. So if you haven't started, if you haven't gotten a head start, totally fine. Get your Ramadan planner and you can start ASAP, inshallah. And then the rest of the pages, it's this tracker. So you have like the hadith of the day, you have the tip of the day, the deed of the day, and then it's how many prayers did you do today, how much Quran you read today or memorized today, and then just a daily checklist of things that you should be doing, right? So like smiling at one another. Did you help someone out? Did you donate today? Did you pray in Jama'ah? These are really great ways to kind of take your personal worship from like here to there, right? As you want to do in Ramadan, obviously. And I've used this like, or tried to use it as much as I can every Ramadan. And it does help. We've had Islamic schools reach out to us, like pre-pandemic, of course.
Yeah.
Have boxes shipped. Like even this year, there was like one school who wanted to give it to their students, like deliver it to their homes, and they ordered 450 of these planners for their students.
Wow.
Yeah, so like some are ordering in the hundreds, which is really great. But definitely check that out. And aside from
kudos to you guys, like the reaction and feedback from everyone, it shows how good of a quality and that product is and how helpful it
Alhamdulillah.
is.
I'm trying my best not to read the comments because I get distracted really easily.
Me too, me too.
I just been skipping. I'll read that later.
Okay.
But and then the other thing was within that Ramadan Ready webpage, we have a few other resources. So we made like a Spotify playlist or multiple Spotify playlists actually. So we had one for just your Quran. We had one for nasheeds with music or without music, and then a separate one for like podcast lectures and then nasheeds for kids specific. Um, so like all the OGs of nasheeds are there. All the classics are there as well. And then
Uh-huh.
there's mobile wallpapers. There's like a zakat calculator. Actually, I was talking to the marketing team. We were looking at the heat map just on that webpage, and the most amount of clicks was on the mobile wallpapers. So a lot of people just wanted to change their background, which is that's
Yeah.
actually a cool thing. So the
Yeah.
wallpaper like different ayahs from the Quran, and there's like multiple ones you could choose from. So that was kind of neat. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's islamically.ca/Ramadan Ready. You'll see the full list of resources, including the planner and the mobile wallpapers and the Spotify playlists too. And sorry to all the Apple Music people. We do look down on you, unfortunately. So, but next year, inshallah, we'll have something for you.
There's always next year, inshallah. No, that's great. Those are really helpful resources, and there like a lot of people and a lot of organizations are pushing out resources, but these are actually beneficial and like just gauging by the reaction that people are giving you.
Yeah.
It's great that you guys are offering these resources, especially at a time like this where um, there's a shortage of what people can do.
Alhamdulillah.
But yeah, alhamdulillah,
We
it's
had
great.
we had someone completely rip our material and post it online as well, which is very flattering, of course. That just means that we're doing a good job, alhamdulillah. So it was
Okay.
just ripped and just, as long as people are benefiting, that's all that matters,
So
right?
selfless, mashallah. That's great.
But can I touch on one thing that Sheikh Yusuf also mentioned,
Yes, please.
which was like aside, like in Ramadan, aside from just your personal ibadah, it's also the feeling of giving back to the community, of volunteering, right? And although predominantly, majority of our volunteer opportunities with Islamic Belief have been of a physical nature, right? A lot of our volunteers come in through event support. That's kind of like the gateway, like that's how they come in. And then they come for more events. Then they start taking on projects and they become like these long-term ambassadors. But given the current climate, that's been difficult. But there are two ways I wanted to kind of explain today of how you can continue volunteering even today. So the first one's crowdfunding, right? I saw someone was actually mentioning crowdfunding here as well on LaunchGood, a great platform. We also do our fundraising on LaunchGood as well. And so you could fundraise right now for any of our emergency appeals for Syria, Yemen, Palestine. You can also do for orphans general. You can also do Sadaqah Jariyah in memory of a loved one who's passed away as well. And I wanted to share an example. This is a few years ago now. There was this young volunteer. Her name was Sanaz. She was 12 years old. Okay,
Mhm.
so Sanaz starts a crowdfunding page, and she was raising money for orphans in need through Islamic Relief. And she was making these like keychains and bracelets at home, like using like the beads and stuff, right? Like fishing wire, etc. And so she called her campaign, I think it was called Keys of Hope or Chains of Hope, either one. And so she was making these keychains and she was selling them to like all the uncles and aunties in her family and family friends. She used a, $1,000 for orphans in need.
No way.
This 12-year-old girl, mashallah. And we were so inspired by this that we actually created a workshop called Keys of Hope, where
Wow.
in March break we would go city by city and we would teach elementary students how to make keychains, how to make bracelets out of beads,
Mhm.
make a crowdfunding page, and then they can create their arts and crafts and then sell them. And they're raising money for kids in need, for orphans around the world. It's amazing because then parents love it because kids now have something to do aside from just watching TV,
Exactly.
being busy making arts and crafts, and then actually going out selling. It's like being a young entrepreneur for charity. Obviously, the orphans are benefiting, and it's just even the children, like they get to learn the importance of charity work and
Mhm.
sadaqah from such a young age. So that was like that entire idea of this workshop came from this 12-year-old girl. I
That's
just,
fantastic. That's a great story.
yeah. And so that's crowdfunding. If you wanted to fundraise for one of our appeals online, just visit our website,
Hmm.
islamicleague.ca/fundraise, and you'll see all the options there for you. The second thing I wanted to talk about is our Cupcakes for Syria campaign. So this is an annual campaign we've done. I think this is like the sixth or seventh year now.
Hmm.
And essentially, all across the GTA, and this year we added on Montreal too, alhamdulillah. All across the GTA, we have donors who can purchase a box of cupcakes, so $20 for a box of 6 cupcakes, and you can either have it delivered to yourself or sent as a gift to a loved one. So this year we sold out within the first week. Like we actually doubled our order. It was more is the highest number that we've ever sold, mashallah. And we had to close off uh close off the order form. And we
Wow.
still have people asking us like, hey, can I order 10 boxes? Like, dude, you definitely can't order 10 boxes. One or two, we have something left. But so for that campaign, the amount of logistical help that we need is actually enormous.
Yeah.
And it's for a very worthwhile cause. It's all proceeds are going for the emergency campaign to provide PPE to medical centers as well as urgent medical supplies, even like food assistance, etc., for Syrian people. So if anyone wanted to help out with deliveries, we're doing deliveries on May 9th for all of West End. So that's from Ancaster up until we've actually included the Peel area as well. So Brampton and Mississauga on May 9th. And then all East End, so from like Etobicoke onwards till even Oshawa on May 16th. If you wanted to help out with volunteering, reach out to us at volunteer@islamicleague.ca. I'd love to get as many people as we can. It's for a phenomenal cause. Every year we have dozens and dozens of volunteers across the GTA helping out, and it's fun
Yeah.
because you can like it's all done before iftar time, right? Because we're
Yeah.
obviously not going to deliver it like someone's house like while they're breaking during the hours of 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you're not doing much, sign up and we'll give you your boxes, your addresses, and we try to give you deliveries that are close to your area so you don't have to travel too far. And obviously, with the current climate, like we're taking safety precautions into consideration as well. So you would simply just leave it at the door, ring the bell, and just bounce. Like there's no human interaction at all,
Hmm.
which is great.
We're getting a few questions about Cambridge. Is that
Those are all my coworkers who are trolling because they're from
yeah?
Cambridge. And no, sorry, we didn't do Cambridge this year, but inshallah next year. Inshallah.
Okay.
There's always next year. There's always next year.
And someone is asking if you need volunteers for baking as well, or just delivery at this point.
Just delivery at this point. Yeah.
Yes.
We try to stick to procuring our cupcakes or any baked goods from a commercial kitchen. So it has to be a registered business that has a commercial kitchen with a food handling license.
Hmm.
That's our preferred option. But we're always down for volunteer help regardless, though.
Okay. Beautiful. Amazing. It's nice to see your entire team coming together to support you.
I'm
The
doing my
live
best
stream.
not to read. Yeah, this is what they do. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. Is there any other volunteer opportunities that people can get involved with, or any other way
Yeah.
to support? Yeah.
One more thing before I forget. Thank you for reminding me. With the missed demographic, you know,
Yes.
students who are graduating, moving on to university either this year or next year. I did want to point out that in several campuses, we have IR clubs as well. And so this is really a great way to get involved. If you want to get involved with the Muslim community, once you've graduated from Miss Toronto, um, there's York U, Ryerson, U of T Scarborough, Ontario Tech University, McMaster, and we are unofficial at the moment. It's Trent, but inshallah by September that should be ratified as well. So that's
So,
6 IR campus clubs that we have just in the GTA, and we have another like half a dozen or so across Canada. Um, these campus clubs, honestly, they're very special to me. These are like dedicated volunteers you'll ever come across because you're balancing your academics, you're balancing part-time work, balancing, obviously family and your friends, getting yelled at by your parents for doing too much, and then you also like with the time you have, you're helping feed orphans worldwide. You're like that's an incredible thing,
Yeah,
and just the amount of dedication, commitment, and passion that we see in campus teams is unmatched.
yeah.
So if you're looking for something to kind of revive your heart, to really get involved with something, look into a campus, an IR campus team in your
Absolutely.
number. And if there isn't one, let me know, and maybe we can start something, inshallah.
Inshallah. Yeah, we do have a lot of grade 11s and grade 12s that will be graduating, inshallah. So that's
Yes, yeah,
definitely an opportunity for them to look into. Yeah, I think we have a York U fan in our comments, but
yeah,
yeah,
mashallah.
mashallah. Okay, so that was a lot. There was a lot of resources as well as a lot of opportunities for people to get involved with. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Of course, like working in the nonprofit industry and working in the charity industry in general, is the benefit, like it is your full time job, so it is your career. But there's an added layer of that reward and that satisfaction of that you get out of helping people. Can you kind of give us a little bit of insight as like what it's like to be in that industry and perhaps a lot of the positives, maybe perhaps some of the negatives, or perhaps some of the challenges that people might not be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I, when I first started with Summer League Canada, um, for me at the time, it was kind of just an exit for something else that I was doing. Okay.
Okay.
So when I got the job, I really thought, I'll do this for like a few months and then move on. It has been 5 years now, alhamdulillah. And alhamdulillah, I've still been here. And it's been an incredible, incredible journey. As a human being, like I've developed so much, and I wake up every single day and I love what I do. And the days where I'm not motivated, I just have to talk to one of the volunteers, preferably one of the ones from the campus teams,
Mhm.
and they will set me straight. Like just looking at their passion um, helps me so much. And so there's a there's a ton of barakah in just working with the Muslim community and doing something like working in the charity sector, where on a daily basis you're helping people in need. And every single task that you do, although it might not seem like it, it's linked to the higher purpose. It's
Yeah.
linked ultimately to, you're doing this for the sake of Allah, and you're doing this to help people. It could be something as, just me doing this webinar right now with you, right?
Mhm.
To me sending out email or cupcakes, whatever it is, it all has to tie back to it as long as that intention is there.
Yes.
Um, I remember um, when my when my wife was expecting, actually, um, her best friend's mom lives in Medina, and so she asked her friend's mom, like, just make dua for like a smooth, healthy pregnancy, delivery, etc.
Yeah.
And her mom said that, like, what do you need me to make dua for? You work to save lives around the world, and there's people all around the world who are making dua for you. Like, you don't need
Oh
my
my.
dua. That gave me shivers,
That's
right?
that's a mic drop right there.
That,
Yeah.
but honestly, like that gave me shivers. And like, subhanallah, that is so true. And just like, alhamdulillah, for everything that I have in my life, I can quite honestly say it's because of like that halal income that I have for
Mhm.
working with the amazing organization that I do. It can all be tied back to that intention. So,
Mhm.
for those who are graduating, if ever, it, not many people who graduate after undergrad aim to go into a Muslim charity. It kind of just happens for a lot of us. Like I can speak for myself and a lot of my friends within the office. It just kind of happened,
Yeah.
but it was sure the best decision that we've ever made. So if that opportunity is ever presented in front of you to work for a Muslim charity, jump on it for sure.
Absolutely. That was a great response. Wow. Okay. Mashallah, that's amazing. Yeah, honestly, I don't have any more questions. Like that pretty much
I had a
sums
question
it up.
for you
Yes.
actually, for Miss Toronto. So like now that you guys have built this like cornerstone in the Muslim community, like it's hard to find a young Muslim who doesn't know Miss Toronto, right?
Alhamdulillah.
At what point do you start looking into other communities in Canada that could really benefit from something like the Mist Spirit, right? Where like
Yeah.
you look at Calgary has a ton of Muslim youth, Edmonton, even Ottawa. Have you guys thought about branching out a little bit and expanding?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a conversation. I think for I think like some of the directors like Amar and Nessa can speak more about this, but it's been a conversation for about a couple of years trying to engage youth outside the GTA. And that would possibly require perhaps opening a new Mist region because like the GTA is so saturated, like we've exhausted our audience.
Mm.
But perhaps opening up a region in BC or Calgary or Vancouver, especially Calgary, there's a lot of Muslims there as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but interestingly enough, like given the pandemic and given that we might possibly be thinking about like an online alternative, that would be the
Mhm.
perfect segue for us to reach out to those who are not in the GTA,
Yeah.
because the location is arbitrary at that point.
Yeah.
So interesting that you bring that up. Is definitely something that's on the table right now. Um, and we're definitely looking to engage people. So if anyone's watching from the Islamic Belief Canada audience that you're not in the GTA, please reach out to us. We'd love to get you involved in whatever way possible. But yeah, definitely we're looking into it, inshallah.
That would be very, very exciting, inshallah.
Yeah, yeah,
Because, I mean,
absolutely.
GTA has had enough, man. It's been like 15 years. Like time, it's time. It's time.
Yeah, this would have been our 13th tournament, subhanAllah. Yeah,
MashaAllah, really? Okay, well,
yeah, yeah.
amazing. Okay,
Yeah. Just to flip that question back on you, just one last
sure.
question and we'll wrap it up. Given that you've been to the first Miss tournament, I'm not sure if you've been to any recent tournaments, but how has Miss changed in front of your eyes? How have you seen that growth?
So I'll be honest, I have not been to a recent Mist.
Mhm.
After my first Mist, 2008, I stayed as like the Mist Bowl judge for like 4 years after that. So I probably still attended like five Mist back to back, and then I kind of just paused. And then my only fix Miss Toronto was like watching the highlight.
Appreciate and
And then my only
all right. Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you for
fix Miss Toronto was like watching the highlight.
mashallah. That's amazing. Yeah, honestly, I don't have any more questions like that.
Incredible, incredible journey. I, as a human being, like I've developed so much. You, Ryerson, you have built this like cornerstone in the Muslim community. Like it's hard to find a young Muslim who doesn't know Miss Toronto, right?
Sorry.
Have you heard of Charity Week? I know that could really benefit from something like the Mist Spirit, right? Where it me so much. And so there's a there's a ton of barakah in just working with the Muslim community and doing out a little bit and expanding.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a conversation. I think for
Actually has fundraised, right?
I think
Actually has fundraised, right? Um, and so the energy in that room, it's very loud. Like everyone's just very, very passionate. And even
that would possibly require perhaps opening a new Miss region because like the GTA is so saturated, like we've exhausted our audience.
hmm,
But perhaps opening up a region in BC or Calgary or Vancouver, especially Calgary, there's a lot of Muslims there as well.
yeah.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, like given the pandemic and given that we might possibly be thinking about like an online alternative, that would be the
Mhm.
perfect segue for us to reach out to those who are not in the GTA,
Yeah.
because the location is arbitrary at that point.
Yeah.
So interesting that you bring that up. Is definitely something that's on the table right now. Um, and we're definitely looking to engage people. So if anyone's watching from the Islamic Belief Canada audience that you're not in the GTA, please reach out to us. We'd love to get you involved in whatever way possible. But yeah, definitely we're looking into it, inshallah.
That would be very, very exciting, inshallah.
Yeah, yeah,
Because, I mean,
absolutely.
GTA has had enough, man. It's been like 15 years. Like time, it's time. It's time.
Yeah, this would have been our 13th tournament, subhanAllah. Yeah,
MashaAllah, really? Okay, well,
yeah, yeah.
amazing. Okay,
Yeah. Just to flip that question back on you, just one last
sure.
question and we'll wrap it up. Given that you've been to the first Miss tournament, I'm not sure if you've been to any recent tournaments, but how has Miss changed in front of your eyes? How have you seen that growth?
So I'll be honest, I have not been to a recent Mist.
Mhm.
after my first missed 2008, I then I stayed as like the missed bowl judge for like 4 years after that. So I probably still attended like five missed back to back, and then I kind of just paused. And then my only fix Miss Toronto was like watching the highlight. Have you heard of Charity Week by any chance, Rami?
Sorry.
Have you heard of Charity Week? A little bit of lag there. I was
Yes, I
saying
have
if you've
heard
heard of
Charity Week. Yeah.
so in the International Dinner for Charity Week, which is done in like in the UK, they reveal all the numbers that
Mhm.
every country has fundraised, right? Um, and so the energy in that room, it's very loud. Like everyone's just very, very passionate. And even
Yeah.
that international dinner did not hold up to Miss Toronto. And like in this dinner, you had people from
Wow.
around the world celebrating this incredible achievement of fundraising $2 million for orphans and children in need. But the energy there was honestly still like Miss Toronto still trumped it. And so like when I look back, when we started like Miss Toronto, it was in UTM, right?
Yeah.
It's not the largest campus, and at the
Mhm.
time there were just a handful of institutions. But now it's just absolutely crazy, and you can't even find someone who doesn't know about Miss Toronto anymore. So
Yeah.
the how large it's gotten, that's probably been the one observation, the clear observation.
Yeah. Absolutely. Alhamdulillah, the response and the feedback and the people who are willing to put effort into growing this organization with us has been fantastic for the past few years.
Yeah,
And yeah, we
keep
can't
up the
wait to
great work.
see where this goes, inshallah.
For sure, inshallah. Likewise, likewise. Awesome. Well,
Inshallah.
jazakallah khair for having me. Appreciate
Uh,
it.
Thank you for
Keep
coming along, and thank you to the entire Islamic Relief team that's watching with us right now. And we truly appreciate all the information that you shared with us. If you don't mind, I think we'll be getting some links from you guys and posting it as well. And this live stream will be recorded and posted as well for people to refer to in the future. But yeah, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day.
no problem.
Um,
No problem at all. All
and
right,
yeah,
man. Take care. Talk to you soon.
and thank you to Islamic Relief for sponsoring our tournament as well. So um, we'll look forward to more programs and more collaborations, Islamic Relief, inshallah.
Inshallah. All right, bro. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for joining us.